All right, Nolan. So what was the movie that we just watched?
We just watched Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions. See, I remember the name this time. That means it's important.
Wow. Are you saying that movie's not important?
I mean,
you're not wrong.
I just can't keep a track of numbers. So, the movie was so good. You guys gotta go see it if you have the opportunity, at all. It was so good.
I'll put a disclaimer. You need to have known, and watched the entire original Yu-Gi-Oh! You have to watch it before you can enjoy this.
Well, I would say, you could probably still enjoy it, but in order to get the full experience, you would have had to, watched at least Duelist Kingdom, Battle City, especially Battle City,
yeah.
And then, all of the Yugi and Kaiba stuff.
And pretty much just, the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, this movie definitely takes place sometime after the end of, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, which was Yugi parting ways with the Pharaoh, who's been with us, for the entirety of that. I don't even know how to call it, if it's a season, because there's whole different, installments of Yu-Gi-Oh! But we'll just say the original Yu-Gi-Oh! So, yeah, he's been, a big influence to a lot of people as far as just getting into the game as well, and just the overall entertainment of just that entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series.
Yeah, and the characters, all of the characters have just been given a whole new coat of paint.
Right.
Everyone's been, I wouldn't say redesigned, but they've just the style has just gotten visibly a lot more appealing, but it's still the same as you remember. It's just better.
Yeah, I was very impressed by how everyone looked the same, just with a new coat of paint.
Everyone just looks a little bit better.
Yeah.
And Yugi looks much more mature.
Mm-hmm.
And all the characters are still still the same characters. Joey's still Joey. He's still I got an attitude. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm gonna kick your ass. He's still the same guy. And him and Tristan still beat each other up. And so if you're a fan of the original series, you owe it to yourself to go watch this movie.
Yeah, it definitely has its high moments. Especially if you watch all of it, that you'll they're really good nods to fans who've watched it before.
Yeah. So concerning, I guess we're gonna start getting into spoilers and stuff right now.
We're gonna talk about certain moments that happened in the movie. Also, before we get started, I'd like to give just a little bit of spotlight to the free card that you would receive after you have shown your movie ticket to the people, and that is, I don't even think you could be able to see it from here, but it is the Obelisk the Tormentor card, which lacks the blue color on them, but actually it's very faded.
Yeah, in the movie itself, it's really funny that they chose this card in particular.
Yeah.
To actually package with the movie, because this version of Obelisk appears for all of less than a minute.
Truly.
And it's cool. It's really awesome whenever it does happen, but it's it holds no plot relevance or importance other than the fact that Kaiba, in very much Kaiba fashion, literally spirit summons him without tribute from the floor. A glowing light appears in the floor, and he summons what is this, a level 10 monster?
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, straight up, just glowing out of the floor. Just, I'm gonna summon this now.
Quite.
Screw the rules. I have money. I'm Seto Kaiba. I have great hair.
But not as good as that perfect coif.
Not the perfect coif on you. That's actually another quote from the movie. They say that Kaiba is jealous of Yugi's hair, which is really funny.
It's weird because for those now we are totally in spoiled territory, but Kaiba does everything in his power to resurrect or try to re-image the Pharaoh in mind so he can battle him again and win a duel.
Oh my gosh.
This man will go to extreme lengths.
Kaiba is the best part of that whole movie.
He's beyond any argument. He is the best character in that entire movie.
I can't help but we were talking about this earlier. I almost feel the whoever dubbed it was actually acknowledging the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge series because of how over the top Kaiba was. Like, he was even more Kaiba than Kaiba usually is.
Truly, like, he's even more self-absorbed, and that's like a what?
There's this moment where he's unveiling the new Duel disc, and he's saying to this huge crowd of people, he's just like, look around you at this world. Like, whoever is the god of this world, if they were under my employ, I would have them fired. I find the role of god to be beneath me, and I will use this dual disc to craft a new world, that meets my perfect vision. I'm like, damn. Like, Seto Kaiba is literally like Lex Luthor and Doctor Doom inside of like a Fujoshi like yaoi body. And it's great, and I love every second of it.
Man, and having said that, like, he keeps that pride no matter what happened, even though he nearly lost to Yugi and the Pharaoh in this movie.
Like, he was kind of a jobber in this movie. Like, he probably would have gotten one over on the villain character Diva, with the Obelisk card, but then again, he cheated. Then again,
the cheat, yeah.
Then again, Diva has the cheapest deck.
Oh,
it is so, like, I was watching, like, every time he'd pull out a new monster, it was just like the monster he summoned before, but with like 3 new arms and 4 more eyes and like and more shit on top of other shit, and it can like, it's like, this card will prevent you from ever playing a card again. It was
so ridiculous. Like every time it was a turn, it's like, here we go. This is a 7-turn turn right here, where he uses like a base monster that is able to fuse and create like another monster, but it has another iteration of that and another one following after that can like strike 2+ more times.
Yeah, like, he was straight up like summoning 3 and 4 times every turn because he could summon monsters out of these other 3 monsters that he had, which all had this weird. Did you feel that they almost kind of somewhat resembled like the Thousand Eyes Idol and like the Relinquished and Restrict, like Pegasus's cards?
Because I kind of don't remember that now.
Pegasus had the Thousand Eyes Idol it was like an egg that had like eyes all over it.
Ooh.
And then it evolved it was used to ritual summon like Relinquished and Thousand Eyes Restrict, both of which had a very unique appearance, and the cards which Diva was summoning like looked oddly like that, but they had like less eyeballs all over them, but similar looking.
It was definitely a weird monster to look at, because like, a lot of antagonists specifically in like the Yu-Gi-Oh series have like themed monsters for their decks.
Yeah.
And so this one was like a weird like mix of like just like darkness and also like cubicle like.
Yeah, it was based on like dimensional cubes.
Right.
So I can only assume that okay. I do want to mention this. So the device that's like linked to the dimensions is like a dimensional cube that's linked to this like ancient magical power that's used for creation and destruction, I guess.
The plantas
aren't those the jungle things from Super Mario Sunshine?
Yes, the piantas. But I think they were called the plantas. It's been a while.
I don't remember,
been a while,
actually.
But just like I kind of glossed over that.
But what was I saying? No, there is the part where they actually bring back the Millennium Ring. And they're making it out like this new character, Diva, is like the bad guy, but he's got, of course, the tragic backstory, and I guess he's a sympathetic villain. He looks a lot like, weirdly, like Yusei from 5Ds.
Yeah, he does.
But then they like tie it into Bakura and the Millennium Ring, and like that ends up being like the final boss, which is really cool, because if they had brought like this new guy in to be Yugi and Kaiba's final boss after everything they went to, that would have been really lame.
Right.
But then they brought back one of their like oldest enemies inside like the Spirit of the Ring, which took on this new gross dimensional form that had boxes all over its head.
Right. What exactly is that spirit in the Millennial Ring? Is it just...
It's like the spirit of like this... I think it was like a grave robber.
Okay.
Or like some sort of like... gosh, it's been a long time since I read the manga where that was taking place, but like he was this like sorcerer or like grave robber of some kind who had this giant ugly stand that was just this humongous engine of destruction. I think it was called Diabound. But I do want to make reference to the fact that Diva, he had the dimensional cube, which is like very reminiscent of the Tesseract from Marvel.
Right.
But Kaiba's new dual disc system was called the Bleeding Edge Dual System, which is the name of one of Iron Man's armors.
No
the
way.
Bleeding Edge armor.
What?
So I was sitting here, I'm like,
Hold up.
hold up.
Can we also mention that like Kaiba's like new dual disc technology like overrules like the plant of power?
Yeah,
like,
the
what?
ancient Egyptian like god magic, and Kaiba's just like,
No.
he's like, where's your god now? I have technology. And he just like goes Super Saiyan and like knocks off this ancient power that,
Curse thing that would
Like-
have taken him away, but like, hey, how could that be? He has something that's even more powerful.
and they reiterate this like 100 times in the movie, like, this power can create or destroy and reshape the face of the world. And Kaiba's just like, I have a Game Boy on my wrist. Fuck you. Like,
It's like, what is Kaiba?
Kaiba is a legend. Kaiba is a legend with a 20-foot wang. And the best part of that movie.
Really? How about the time like after his like replica fight with the Pharaoh, crushes that water bottle, he says like, no, fire the person who designed this water bottle. They shouldn't break that easily.
Yeah, like he's saying that like there's a Kaiba Corp water bottle. He destroys it in his hand because he's mad at the Pharaoh, and then gets mad at his employees because it wasn't strong enough to withstand his crushing mighty fist.
his mighty right hand.
Right. Oh my gosh, that was so cool, especially getting to see like Obelisk in action just with the giant flaming god hand just crushing all of Diva's monsters.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, yeah, I feel like Diva would have lost that fight if it weren't for the fact that, like, oh, Seto, we got this going. Hashtag bye.
Right? There's so many moments where it was just like, the duel is over. And of course, in true Yu-Gi-Oh fashion, it's like hanging on with 100 life points.
Right. Because that's not suspenseful. It wouldn't be suspenseful without it. Yeah. I do have a few issues with the movie, despite how much I enjoyed it. And that was, like, the overall pacing of the movie, because it was 2 hours, and that's a long movie. That's Avengers length. But they had to fit in so much plot and so much backstory. And a lot of it, I feel, wasn't really necessary. Like, for example, the whole idea that, like, people ship Taya and Yugi together. And then, Yugi's grandpa was like, hey, where's Taya? You usually walk together. And then that was the only extent to that shipping moment.
Right.
And that was it. It was just like,
no, I'm cool with some like Domino City, like towny stuff going on. I think the thing with me is that like the final duel seemed really rushed.
yeah.
Like it was just like they fought him, and then the Pharaoh appears and he, blasts him and he disintegrates and it's over. And
right.
but that moment is so cool.
It was really good.
When like the Yugi is about to pass out from the power of the darkness, and like Atem appears and he's just like, I am the fucking Pharaoh, bow down before me. And he just like, orders the dark magician to like, what was the final attack?
This boy, by the way, says nothing in the final moments. He just like, he summons his own like, I guess servant. I don't know who it was. People like, you can like enlighten me on like who it was, but he just summons this random dude who shoots just a laser of light through this monster that was supposed to be like going to wipe Yugi out, and he just wins the duel with like no life points remaining or anything. It's just like, it's over.
And the thing is, the thing that's the coolest thing about it is that when the Pharaoh appears, he doesn't say anything.
Right. He just doesn't need to.
He just stands there with his hair blowing, and just like the music stops, and you just get a look at him in his bronzed god glory.
This godly music like playing in the background as he says nothing. A lot of the background music is like kind of nulled a little bit or like muffled.
Yeah. Speaking of the music, they used like a lot of the more famous tracks from the original series, like the original theme and like the Kaiba Corp theme, and a lot of like the music to Duel by type stuff. And that was so cool to hear. It really brought back memories. The only thing that I'm really disappointed about is the fact that none of the other Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists were referenced in any way. Like I would have really liked to see like Jaden at least, because I can understand like you say not being there because of it being like in the distant future. But I mean, Jaden at least would have been cool to see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But yeah, I understand it because it is their time. This is like their timeline at the moment, so this is their spotlight. And it's very interesting to think that they would come back to this particular Yu-Gi-Oh series and like finish it off, quote unquote, because with the disappearance of the Pharaoh, you figure like, oh, that's all right. Yeah, we can end it on that. But no, Kaiba still wants that duel.
He's relentless. And
all right.
Go ahead.
The final moments of the movie is just Kaiba going through, doing a Kaiba thing, going through like time itself. He's wearing even a specialized like suit just to keep him intact relatively.
You gotta tell him that he uses the dimensional cube. He uses like Diva's dimensional cube to power a machine that enables him to basically drive a spaceship through dimensions so he can go back in time to fight the actual living pharaoh.
It was so funny, but it was the greatest thing I've seen.
So like the moment, like that past moment in like ancient history, that fated battle between like the pharaoh and Kaiba's ancestor is now between actually Seto Kaiba and the pharaoh.
It's so great.
We were talking as we left the theater. I was talking about how like Priest Seto from the original series like shows up like and the duel's already happening like and he's just like, dude, the fuck. This is my moment.
It was so ridiculous. Kaiba's way too extra, but for a good reason. He surprisingly he carried a lot of the comedy parts of the movie. Like definitely Joey had a good number with Tristan in tow, but Kaiba, especially like with his subtle like commentary like during duels, like you really hate dragons, don't you, Yugi?
Yeah, his little quips, because like Kaiba keeps summoning dragons and Yugi's like, oh, I'm just gonna summon these like Dark Magician Girl clones and we're gonna do this thing and your giant dragon's gonna blow up for the 5th time, and Kaiba's just like you keep destroying my monsters, fuck you.
You're fighting me with fruit.
Oh yeah, you dare to fight me with fruit?
What was it?
Oh my god.
The Apple Magician Girl, the Lemon Magician Girl.
I've never seen those cards before in my life.
Same here. So it's just like, oh, that's a new one.
Yeah, and they use like a great diversity of cards and like modified versions of like the old cards, like new Dark Magician, new Blue Eyes White Dragons, like a new Giant Soldier of Stones. Like I didn't see any Magnet Warriors, but there was gadgets.
Yeah.
There no like Legion or like Hitsatsumi Giant or anything like that, but a lot of like classic cards and like new spins on classic cards. We got to see Celtic Guardian. And his brother.
That was cool. Let's see, what else is there that I wanted to talk about?
Marshmallow was there.
Yeah. And of course, Dark Magician Girl. Yeah. And definitely a new like design for the Dark Magician. I don't know if that's been around for a while, but yeah.
Looks like Tron.
Yeah, it was cool. I just kind of wish that they maybe explained a little bit more about like that. This is not like, obviously it's not like Yugi's like Dark Magician quote unquote card, but it's just like an entirely different design on it.
They probably just like Pegasus decided to put a new coat of paint on the cards and then like redesigned it,
I guess.
and so it's supposed to be like more modern.
Speaking of which, he was not anywhere in this movie.
Pegasus nowhere.
Yeah, throughout all this in turmoil, you just see him just like designing more cards.
Yeah,
he's like, what's this Neo-Spacian? Not fine. Just like go ahead. Like go ahead. I guess this is submitted by Kaiba. All right.
Yeah, we're talking Kaiba like calls Pegasus on his cell phone, and he's just like, yes, and he's just like, I need you to design me another Blue Eyes White Dragon. What happened to the last one I made you? I need you to make one twice as ridiculous as that. You remember the God cards? Make one that will make them look like shit. It's like, God damn it, Kaiba.
His deep eyes.
Deep eyes white dragon. And Neo Blue Eyes White Dragon, Like
Alternative.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Like, there's no end to the dragons.
Like the crystal dragons that let you summon Blue Eyes White Dragon.
And that crazy ability that Deep Eyes has that increases by the number of like dragons like in the graveyard.
Weirdly though, no Blue Eye Shining Dragon.
No.
Not at all.
That was so strange. We did get to see Red Eyes just like in Joey's hand. Just like, hey, look, check it out.
We got to see
like,
Yu-Gi-Oh! Use that one like destruction dragon that was given away like in an issue of Shonen Jump.
Oh, really?
Like when I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah, that was an interesting card too.
Like that's a strange card to remember because the only place I remember seeing it was coming out of the magazine.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Well, there was a lot of cool things in this movie.
It's 2 hours long, people.
2 hours long.
But well worth it.
It was well worth it, especially if you're a fan.
I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. That being said, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! So definitely go see it if you love Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. Again, yeah, just definitely for fans. I'm just like, I am still a bit iffy about like the pacing of like the movie because it had to like jump into like, it felt like a lot of it was like divided into segments in which like this was happening, and this was happening as well.
Right.
I don't know how I feel about that, but otherwise like it didn't really take away from my overall enjoyment. It was just something that I noticed like as they transitioned to another thing. Because like it was 2 hours, and 2 hours is long, but when you're trying to develop such like a plot like this, it's just like you have to rush it just a wee bit.
And as soon as it was over, I was like, no, like I know it's such a great ending right now, but at the same time, no, I don't want it to be over.
I am happy that they kind of ended the way they did. As ridiculous it was for Kaiba just to go back through time just to battle Yugi or Tenma, and then that was it.
Such a good film, such a good movie. Go watch it, love it. And if you have seen it and you liked it,
let us know your favorite moment of the movie
in the comments below.
Also, I know there was like a couple other Yu-Gi-Oh movies. I'm pretty sure like every single like iteration of Yu-Gi-Oh had a movie attached to it. What would you say? Where would this rank in all of them if you've watched any other ones?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna call it for this one. Like as far as Yu-Gi-Oh movies go, I think I like this one the most.
I'd like to say that too. Also, I do like the three-way like character protagonist interaction in like one of the more recent ones, which is like Yugi, Yusei, Jaden.
That one was good, but like it suffered the problem that I was talking about before, where like they used like a villain that came from nowhere.
Yeah,
and it wrapped up way too quickly. But getting to see all of them in the same place was so great.
Yeah. That's definitely like the selling point is like these interactions with characters that would have never otherwise had a conversation. Just see how they interact with each other. Yeah,
the pacing of that one was just like it was over way too quickly.
Yeah,
I immediately wanted more as soon as it was over.
Yeah, but I think like this movie was a good just ending point for Yu-Gi-Oh, for the original series. Just having everyone like go their separate ways, and Kaiba, being Kaiba. You're in charge, Mokuba.
Right. It's like, I'm going to ancient Egypt.
I will have my duel.
To play Pharaoh. Duel Masters.
All right. I think we're good here then.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I recommend it too. Especially just to get this card. Although, I don't know what I'd do with that. I'd probably, if my cousin hasn't seen it yet, I'd probably give this to him. Yeah, just like, he probably would find more use or entertainment with it.
I'll hang on to mine. If I hear somebody like really, really, really super wants it, I will send it to them.
All right. I guess we're good here then.
All right.
So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. #bye.